on ZingoTV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Bomber and ZingoTV apps from respective iOS and Android app stores, as both apps are absolutely free. And while you download, please make sure to rate and leave a comment because we really do want to hear from you people. Yes, we do. And ZingoTV is also available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks. And Roku sticks are also available on all smart TVs from 2016 forward. So, folks, welcome to the show. Welcome to Club Tracks. And Happy New Year, by the way. And, of course, before we get going here, let's introduce my cool co-host, the one and the only. He's a lead singer and guitarist of New York City's hard rocking band, The Handful. Please welcome Mr. Mark, the cool dude. Duda.
How you doing, brother? Happy New Year.
Man? How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for coming on, Leanne.
Thank you.
All right, right on.
Right on. And Mark, how was your holidays, sir? How was your holidays, Mark?
It was pleasantly uneventful, which is what we were looking for this year. So yeah. We made the kids happy. You know, there was plenty of presents. And I don't know if you know this, we celebrate, my wife is Jewish. I was raised Catholic. We celebrate it all in this house.
Oh, I see.
So especially for my 11-year-old daughter, she had her birthday and Hanukkah and Christmas all in December. So she's spoiled for a while.
I was say, when you're a kid, you got all that going on in one household. That's
yeah, good stuff. When they get to be of age, they can make up their own minds. So
yeah, no, right on, man. As always, I love it. Right on. Yeah. And let's introduce our cool guest of this evening here. She's, of course, an award-winning country artist out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I believe you're tonight in Nashville, Tennessee. Is that correct?
It is correct, yes.
Very cool. Hey, welcome to the show there, Leanne. Leanne Pearson, here she is. She's live. And welcome, Leanne.
Well, thank you. And thank you for calling me cool.
Well, you are cool.
Life made.
On this show, you are cool. That's just the way it is.
Right.
It is.
The place to be.
Place to hang out would be here right now. Yeah. So we're just from Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is, of course, that's actually my hometown as well. Actually, I'm born in Winnipeg as well.
I know, that's crazy. What a small world it is.
It's so tiny, and that's even more smaller now thanks to the world of Zoom.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how'd you discover music? What was your journey for you in the world of music?
Well, I grew up in a home where nobody plays music, like nobody is a musician, but we play music all the time. So we always have music on, playing in the background. Usually it's, when I was growing up, it was a lot of live DVDs. So I grew up watching like Eric Clapton and the Eagles and John Cougar Mellencamp and Tom Petty and Sheryl Crow and all on my TV. So I basically would watch them and kind of mimic what they were doing. And that's where I learned my stage presence from, was really just watching people do what they do on TV. And just always knew I was going to be involved in music, really.
Is that right?
Yeah, started singing at the age of 4.
Wow.
And was in musical theater for 7 years, starting at the age of 7. So I loved performing. I felt at home on the stage.
That's very cool. Actually, that's a great point you raised too about TV live performances, because of course you're still around, but we're not seeing as much as like people like ourselves, like Mark and I. We kind of more the same generation, so we kind of grew up with a lot more music on TV than you ever see today.
Everything you asked for Christmas was a live DVD. You're like, oh, the Rolling Stones went on tour. I want their live DVD. And that's what you asked for Christmas, you know?
So true.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. See, that's very cool. That's a cool answer right off the bat. Very good.
Yes, cool.
Yeah, right on.
2 strikes of cool. Not that I'm counting, but.
Nobody's counting here. Don't worry. It's an overabundance of coolness. That's all it is.
Yes.
So who was your first earliest music influences for you?
A lot of classic rock, really. I was brainwashed by my parents. So whatever my parents listened to was what I listened to. And it was classic rock. It was the Eagles and Tom Petty and John Cougar Mellencamp and the Rolling Stones. And then powerhouses like Shania Twain came around and totally influenced the way I consumed music and also wrote music and performed music. And a lot of
genre of country. I mean, I can definitely see that in you. I can definitely see that in you, the Shania Twain thing going on. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and the midriff as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The crop tops, really, it's all Shania Twain.
Yeah, right on, right on. And so guitar and piano, or which one's like your first instruments for you discovered?
Well, it was guitar. I picked up the guitar around the age of 12. I don't, really remember the exact age I was, but I kind of just started to teach myself how to play by learning cover songs that I really loved. So one of the first songs I ever learned was like Free Fallin', Learning to Fly, a lot of Tom Petty songs and Sheryl Crow songs. And I just kind of taught myself. And then eventually my parents were like, why don't you take some lessons? It's like, great idea. So I took some lessons and just wanted to learn, really. And then from there started writing music, songwriting. And I did take piano lessons when I was younger, but I didn't like the idea that when you played the piano, you were tied down to where you were on the stage with that piano.
Right.
I love the guitar because I could move around, I could
Yeah.
rock out, I could walk around the stage and rock out with the guitar player. And
Yeah.
so I kind of gravitated more towards guitar through the years, and then recently picked it back up and, like almost 20 years later, learned how to play again. So it's been an interesting ride.
That's very interesting for sure, for sure. Over to you, Mark.
So, hey, Leanne. So when you're writing these days, do you sort of gravitate towards the guitar or the piano or keyboard, one versus the other? Do you find that when you write on one versus the other, that you might have different types of ideas and inspirations?
Yeah, I think things sound different on the piano versus the guitar and all instruments. So one thing I did when my new single Miles Away came out was I did a album release party virtually, of course, and to end the show I basically played the Miles Away on guitar and then on piano back to back, and then I asked the viewers, tell me which one you like better, because it's not very often that an artist is going to sit here play you the two versions of the same song on a different instrument. And it was really cool to hear the feedback of what people liked better, and it honestly just sounded completely different on both instruments. And it made me realize that when I am writing, it is a different vibe based on what instrument you're using, but I always gravitate towards guitar.
Okay, what about on that song? Did you write that one on guitar, or did you write it on piano? You did write it on guitar. It's cool because I didn't see the special you're talking about, but maybe I saw a clip of it. I saw a clip that kind of looked like where you're sitting now, and you were playing that song, and it wasn't, of course, was different from the arrangement that was on the album because it's just you, so it was sparse and it was keyboard driven. But I thought it worked. So that's one of those songs that does work more than one way, right? It's interesting because usually I won't think of an alternate arrangement to something I wrote on my own. Somebody else has to do it. And I said, why didn't I think of that? So that's pretty cool that your mind's working that way. And I have sort of an offbeat question for you. When I was looking through your press photos, I saw a shot of you. I think you had a Les Paul behind your neck and your arms were up like this. And I noticed your ink. Talk to us a little bit about the tattoos you have and why you made those choices.
Yeah, I growing up, I always knew I wanted to get tattoos, but I'm an overthinker and a perfectionist. So I had to overthink it and perfect it before I got it to make sure it was something that I was going to be happy with forever and be very proud of. So my first ever one was this one on my wrist here, which I'm not as like double jointed as I thought I was. So I'm like, how do I show it to you?
Okay.
I see that. Yeah. See that.
Yeah. So it's basically a key with a heart and a treble clef and an infinity sign. And so it means the key to my heart is love, the heart, family, the heart, friendship, an infinity symbol, and music.
Cool.
And so on my rib cage, I also have like a heart with a keyhole in the middle and angel wings wrapped around it. So it's for my Nana, who's my guardian angel. And when I hug myself, the key goes into the keyhole.
Oh, that's clever. That's neat.
It's so cheesy. I designed it myself.
I like it.
It's what
I
it
was like
means
to the
to
tattoo
you.
artist, I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah, no, I hear you with the overanalysis paralysis. I'm like that too. But you did make a decision, right? And then you had a a word written right on your bicep and then
Yep.
something else closer to your wrist. So talk to us about those and why you chose those.
Yeah, so I've got serendipity here, which is my absolute favorite word. I love the idea of serendipity, you know, just fate and being in the right place at the right time, and just things happening spontaneously, and you meet people spontaneously, or something happens spontaneously. And it was the title of my first album, which was an EP. So Pull It Off was my first full length real album, but I call this my fake album. So Serendipity was my first ever fake album.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, and how about the other one? Is it 1111? Is that?
Yes. 1111. Yes, my nana it always taught me that when you see 1111 on the clock, you're supposed to make a wish. And
That's
again,
right.
it kind of goes with that serendipity vibe, where when I was really young, I loved the idea of not only wishing on a star, but wishing on the clock as well. So I had all these times during the day, 11:11 a.m., 11:11 p.m. And then when you see a shooting star, or, you know, the first star you see tonight, I loved the idea of wishing and dreaming.
That's cool.
Very
I like
cool.
that.
Very cheesy, guys.
Actually, that's pretty
indulging
cool.
us with that. I honestly do think, though, you know, fans see things like that and they wonder about it. So it's kind of good to let people in a little bit. You know, something I also saw in your press kit is that you've had some experiences with CMT, which I thought was really cool because, you know, country artists, whether they're in Nashville or Manitoba or New York City, right? It's always a pretty lofty goal to get noticed by a network like that. And it sounds like you had some experiences early on and have had some of a relationship with the network. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think, again, kind of just serendipity. I didn't know CMT was in town shooting this karaoke star contest, and somebody just said, "Hey, you should go check it out." I said, "Well, when is it?" They said, "Tonight." I was like, "What?" They said, "Yeah, you have to pick a song off their list and you sing one of the songs off the list." And I said, "Well, I sure as heck hope I know one of the songs on the list."
Yeah.
And I picked a Sarah Evans song, and it was an awesome experience. So being on this karaoke star, I basically was fan voted. So you know, my memory's a little foggy, but it was fan voted. So I won for Winnipeg, and then moved on to the national finale, and then that's where I met Aaron Pritchett, who became a very, very good mentor. He was a manager of mine for a while, and a very, very dear friend in the industry. And then that opportunity kind of led to Big in a Small Town, which was another reality TV show for CMT. And they just kind of reached out to me and said, we loved you on Big in a Small or on Karaoke Star. Will you come on our new TV series, Big in a Small Town? And I said, hell yes. Am I allowed to say hell on here? And yeah, and it just, so when my first music video came out, they were just so excited to support me. And it was just wonderful. They're just such wonderful people. Even the camera crew, they're all just wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's one of those things, and you know, at the risk of me sounding like an inspirational meme, like you made your own luck, right? It's serendipity, but you showed up that day and you had the nerve to do it, right? And you've done it more than once, and so I think that's also good for people to see. You know, it's like you make your own luck type of thing, right? Because you showed up and you came to play, and that's you know, Noel the boxing coach knows all about that. Don't come if you're not going to come to play, because you won't like what happens, right?
That's right. That's
right. Yeah. So that's very, very cool. So I saw some of your wedding video too. Wow. So I think that you either have a very close relationship with your family or none at all, because you got married and they weren't there.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
I figured it was one of the two, but that's all I knew about the story. It's like, well, you know, they're getting married with, like, you know, like, it's very interesting. I'm going to let you tell the story, but you got married in an interesting way, 1,200 miles from home or 1,500 miles from home, whatever it was. You had a special witness there with you, special guest you brought. And I was thinking to myself, wow, either they have a ton of support from people who just, or maybe you're going to throw another wedding down the road, and you tell people, I will give you a wedding when COVID, so let's just do this. So what happened there? You got married, so congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Still getting used to having a ring on my finger.
Yeah, I've been married over 20 years. I never wear mine, and it doesn't mean anything. It flew off of my hand when I was throwing a football years ago, and it's still in the yard somewhere. So
You'll never find it.
But so what happened? I mean, you got married very recently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So basically, my now husband and I, we had a wedding booked here in Nashville. We're very excited for everyone to come. We were on the HGTV show Property Brothers. So this music room in our house was rented by Property Brothers. And so part of our wedding festivities was so that all our family and friends got to come and see our house that they watched on Property Brothers. We'd show them the bar we met at, and so we were so excited for the wedding, but it kept getting pushed back and back and back. And so we kind of just got fed up, and we had been separated for over 4 months, which was when I wrote Miles Away. And I kind of just said, you know what, I'm going to fly. I'm going to come and see you. I wore like full headgear, the mask, the face shield, and just hopped on a plane and flew during a world pandemic to see him. And we just, after being together, we kind of just said, why are we waiting? We love each other. We want to get married. Let's do it. So our whole family and all our friends, every single person thought we were going to the courthouse to elope. And so I said, we're going to be live streaming this. We want you all to tune in. They said, well, it's going to be like 5 minutes at the courthouse. And like, why would we want to tune in? And we finally said to everybody, we have a big surprise for you, and we cannot wait for you to see it. And everyone's thinking, A, you're pregnant. He's pregnant. You're moving to Winnipeg. You got a dog. You got another cat. They're thinking all these crazy ideas. And we're like, no, we're getting married at an Elvis chapel with Elvis.
It was a crazy idea.
Literally nobody knew. And as soon as we started the live stream, they could see behind us. Clearly, Elvis was not standing there, but they could see clearly we're not in a courthouse. So people are going, something weird's going on. And then I pop out wearing this like cute little short dress. It was a short kind of wedding party dress that I'd had for 10 years, literally 10 years. And I'd played a bunch of shows in it when I was younger, and kind of pulled it out of the closet and said, this'll do. And had this like, cute little veil we ordered online. And everyone's going, you dressed up like that for the courthouse? And my husband walks out wearing like a white tuxedo jacket and white shoes. And then Elvis walks out, and everyone lost their minds. They were so happy. So we turned in what was a very sad moment for everyone. So sad that they couldn't be there. We were sad they couldn't be there. But we made it a fun event for everyone to watch at home. And now we're going to look back and laugh about it. And instead of crying those sad tears because we got married at a sterile courthouse, we're crying happy tears because we got married by Elvis with our cat as the cat of honor.
That's right. Yeah, that was very cool. And then the song selection is cool. I noticed he hit you up with a little "Burning Love" at the end, which I'm a sucker for later day Elvis. He had the right get up on, everything was period correct. So I thought that was really cool. But I imagine there's going to be some kind of reception down the road, or your parents are mad at you type thing.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was definitely a little sad about it, but we spoke to everybody before, before the live stream started, basically before the day we got married, and said, this is what we're doing. We love you all. We wish you could be here, but just trust us on this. It's going to be fun. We found a way to make this fun, and nobody knew what to expect. So everyone is very happy with how it turned out. And, it was, my veil kept falling off, and the cat was meowing, and it was literally the most perfectly imperfect day that we could have possibly had.
Yeah, so you made a really cool memory. So that was really, congratulations again. Now, is your move to Nashville permanent? Is this because you said, your husband was there, now you're there, now that you're married, not going to be probably the Manitoba, Nashville.
We're still trying to figure it out. He's from Bloomington, Indiana, which is where John Mellencamp is from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact. And so we don't know what we're going to do yet. You know, we met here in Nashville. We obviously bought our first house together and we're on Property Brothers together. And we've had a really, really neat love story. And it's not, you know, it's just getting started. So we don't know where we're going to end up. But, you know, for right now, we're here, we're in Nashville and in our home with our cat and we're happy.
Yeah, it's a fun town. I mean, the whole Nash Vegas aspect of it. My band and I mixed our last record in Nashville, so even just to get a change from where we're at. So it's a good place. I think every musician should go there once, you know, at least type of thing. So that's very cool. And thanks for sharing that with us. So I tell you, we're getting personal already. The tattoos, the wedding, but I'll throw it back to Noel. Maybe he'll take it a little easier on you.
Yeah, we'll do. We're not gonna ask you to play live for us. Ooh.
All right.
Can you handle that?
I can handle. Do you want me to play right now?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's bring it on. So we'll how you say, yeah, miles away.
How's the audio? Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly. Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, well, this song is Miles Away. It is my new single. It's the first time that I've ever released such a personal song before. You know, I'm a country rocker. If you've seen me play live or you've seen videos of me playing live, it's rock and roll and it's rock and country and it's poppy. And so for me to release something so vulnerable and intimate and something I wrote by myself, you know, is new to me. So this is a new side and people seem to be really responding well to it and they think it's cool. So I'm excited, you know, and to share the piano with you. This is basically my second time ever playing live piano in front of people. My first time was a couple weeks ago for the single release party for Miles Away. So second time's a charm, right? Unless I hit a wrong note. I don't know.
You're on the show too. Very good. Excellent.
So if you're ready, this is Miles Away.
Excellent.
I'll be back soon. They say distance makes the heart grow fonder, but I have to wonder, whoever said that it's never been gone so long away from you. It's been months, but it feels like years. You're there, and I'm here. I love you more each day, even though you're miles away. And I can't wait to marry you one day when you're not miles away, miles away, yeah. I miss your smile and the way you make me feel safe. I'm so sorry that I had to go away. Leaving you behind was the hardest thing, but I'll be back soon. It's been months, but it feels like years. You're there, and I'm here. I love you more each day, even though you're miles away. And I can't wait to marry you one day when you're not miles away, miles away, yeah. Distance doesn't change a thing. Your last name will have a nice ring. I love you more each day, even though you're miles away. And I can't wait to marry you one day when you're not miles away, miles away. Miles
Very good. Woo.
Thank you.
Hey, well done.
That sounds really good in Zoom, doesn't it?
Does it? Good.
Yeah, no, that did. It doesn't always, but it sounded really good.
No, it's not really good in Zoom. Usually, yeah, it's truly. It's always like a tricky thing where it's like, that was
Yeah.
great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Clear and clean, the way you like it. Right on. You also ask you about the video, because that's actually it's a beautiful song. Like you're saying, it's very, very personal song. But the video I thought was very interesting. We had the American Sign Language lady doing her thing on the video, which of course goes into going back to your nanas, right? You mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Let me share a story about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, so basically growing up, my grandparents were my best friends, and one was blind, one was deaf. And so one of them, my Nana used to listen to me sing all the time. She was my biggest fan. But she never got the opportunity to see me physically perform on a stage. The other Nana was deaf, and so she could not hear my singing voice. She never got to hear my singing voice, but she could see me. So she watched me in musical theater, and she watched me on stage at shows, at festivals and stuff. And so it, breaks my heart that one didn't get to see me and the other one didn't get to hear me. So basically, one was the eyes and one was the ears. So it's just a really, really beautiful little story. The two of them were just the sweetest girls. And so I stumbled across this Kylie from a company called Song here in Nashville and was blown away. I talk a lot, so it takes a lot for me to be speechless, and I was absolutely speechless. She was just fantastic. And I reached out to her and said, here's my story about my nanas, and this is why I connect with what you're doing, and I would love to have you in a music video for this new song. And I sent the song to her, and she was like, I love the song, I love the story, we got to make this work. So obviously, COVID kind of got in the way of that, and it took us a while to try to get this video together and make sure that it was going to be safe. And it turned out to be such a beautiful thing, and people have been really connecting with it. It's only been out for like 2 weeks, and I've never had a music video, organically get like 10,000 views so quickly, which is it's a lot for me, because I'm not the type of person that believes in really like paying for views or paying for streams or anything like that. And so when something organically catches on and people feel something and emotionally connect with something, it's just such a beautiful thing. So this music video has been amazing. It's been part of this song's journey, and I love it.
I can see why, because I mean, it's like you said, it's a beautiful song, but even that video, it's so true. It's very simplistic, but it's very powerful. What's going on there between you and of course the partner? It's like really, really amazing stuff. I was really impressed with that. It's very simple, but it's like really does grab your attention. That's what's going on there in your song and your video. It's very, very impressive.
Well, thank you.
Well done with that. Well done.
We do actually have a second video coming out. So we had an official music video, 4 Miles Away, which was my debut on piano. So we've got this like big, beautiful white piano that I'm going to be playing, and this guitar behind me as well. And then we stumbled across Song and Kylie and kind of changed the plans and was like, well, we can have 2 videos for a song, can't we?
Yeah.
So things kind of just snowballed from there, but we do have an official music video that will be coming out soon.
Very cool. That's very good. Good to know. It's very good to know.
Yeah.
No, right on. I'd like to ask you too about how did you actually meet the award-winning producer Murray Pulver? How did you meet him?
Yeah, well, we've been dear friends for quite some time. I feel like I met him through Doc Walker, because he used to be in the band Doc Walker, and I feel like that's how I met him. But he did produce "Tuned Into You," one of my old songs. He did produce that, so I have known him for years, and we've worked together many, many times. I've known him for years. Wonderful person, just such a sweet, sweet person, and so incredibly talented.
Yeah. I mean, for folks who don't know, like Murray's play with Winnipeg's Crash Test Dummies for quite a while. So that's I thought it was pretty cool little Canadian twist and tie in there, especially with you being from Winnipeg, and very cool, very, very cool. Yeah. Well, back over to Mark for a cool question.
Yeah, so when I was listening to your material, now I listened obviously to the new song and I listened to the Pull It Off album as well. I thought you had a nice blend of acoustic and elect. I'm a guitar player. I tend to listen for vocals and guitars first. It's just how I'm wired. You had an interesting blend of acoustic and electric guitars on the record. And there are a couple of sort of, upbeat rockers on there that I think we both like that, we'll probably get to in a minute. But one thing I wanted to talk to you about was the song Skip, I'm Sorry, because it's got a really neat acoustic guitar part in there. And it was one of those things where I was kind of playing it in the background and I was doing some other things, and that kind of perked me up. And I took a closer listen. It's a really interesting part. And then right when I get comfortable, maybe you're like a minute and a half into the song, you have this really interesting, it's like a breakdown, like a spoken word break. It's got like a hip hop flavor to it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm like, okay, I'm moving off of the Southern rock a little bit, and I'm digging this acoustic vibe. And then you kind of made that right angle turn. So I want to talk about that song. Like, how did you get started on that song? Was that the lyrics, the vocal riff? Did you write that little acoustic guitar part first? When did you decide to put the change in there? It's not a song I've read a lot about either in the research I did, but it was a song that struck me as a real good one.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs off the album, honestly. And I wrote that with a good friend, Greg, who wrote Jennifer Lopez's "Love Don't Cost a Thing." So I really, really wanted to have a country reggae song with a rap section in it. Oh. And so something I do live with my band is usually we break down a song. It's usually a cover song. So like Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, or Jason Aldean, some kind of rockin' song. And we break it down and I rap in the middle. And so I was like, I want to have an original song that I've written that has this rap. And who better than Greg, this number one, writer. And I was like, Greg, you got to do this with me. He's like, let's give it a try. And so that's where Skip, I'm Sorry came. We got the country flavor, we got the reggae, and we got the rap.
Yeah, very cool. And I think I think one thing it does is kind of tie an album that's somewhat stylistically diverse, kind of ties it together all in one spot about halfway through. So I thought that was a powerful track. I wanted to compliment you on that.
Thank you.
Also, again, about your songwriting, for somebody who's happily married and seems to have had a lot of things go right, you write a lot of relationship songs, and the relationship songs are not always happy songs. So does that come from your past? Is it sort of observational fiction stuff that you see? What kind of drives that part of your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting observation. I find that people really connect to relationship songs. You hear something on the radio and you connect, whether that's a past relationship you've had or current relationship you're in, for good, a breakup song, or if you're happily married song. And so I kind of naturally write a lot of relationship songs because I find people connect with those the most. And I'm not the type of person that has to write about my own life. I pull a lot from other people and what I hear is going on with friends and with family, and and I write a lot. I can write really about anything at any time, and that's what I love about being a songwriter. Is as you listen to my Pull It Off album, you can't really put that album in a box. You can't pick one genre and say this album is blank, because it's such a blend of so many things. And that's why I love being a songwriter, is because I can write about anything and be whoever I want as a songwriter and not be put in that box. And so when it comes to a relationship, I'm happily married to my best friend, but I've obviously had heartbreak in the past, and I know people who go through heartbreak, and you kind of pull from those emotions and go, yeah. Oh, I really love this lyrical idea. And then you put yourself into that story. So let's say a song like Love Ain't It. I absolutely love that lyric. And we just kind of ran with the Love Ain't It type vibe for that one song. And you just kind of go, if you were that person in that certain situation, how would you feel? You know, what would you say? What would you do? And so you kind of, it's like a movie. You put yourself in that character.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. We had a songwriter on maybe a month or two ago, a guy named Mike Plume, and he wrote a lot of relationship songs. And I was asking him how much was autobiographical, and he described much of what he wrote as cinema. And so that's sort of what you're saying as well. But it was interesting because I'm like, she's got bad love and trust issues in these songs, and I just watched her grinning ear to ear with the love of her life. So this is an interesting. So, you know, some of it, I guess you're saying, is based on past experience, and and some of it is just relating to others. And I do think that's good, because people do want to hear. They listen for themselves. They try and grab a hold of those lines that they can relate to.
Yeah.
So I think that's a smart observation you make. I think that's a good tool for a songwriter to have. So that's a good answer.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you know, when you have an artist that is also a songwriter and a musician as well, you're a little bit more diverse in a lot of aspects of life. So you write different songs and you cut different songs, and I'm also in the process of, you know, pitching songs to other artists as well as a songwriter.
Yeah.
So, you know, at heart, I am a songwriter, and
Yeah.
I love stories. You know?
Are you involved in the production as well? So, you know, do you produce your own material, for example, or do you work with engineers that also produce? How much of that sort of sonic final product is you, and how much of that do you work with, you lean on others for?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few producers that I kind of bounce between based on, you know, where I'm at and what type of song it is and who it calls for. And a song like Rooster, for example, is one that I co-produced. So we produced that song.
Yeah, that's a rocker. That's one of your rockers. Yeah,
I love that one.
Great track.
I love that one. And you know, something was just, you know, missing in the production. And so I went into the studio and was like, this is what I want. And there was, like, you know, at the very end of the song, I went, and it was on a take that we didn't even use. And I'm like, I remember doing this. Can we grab it and then put it all inside the song? And I want the steel guitar to do this, and I want this. And so I kind of just got involved in the production side of things and co-produced that song with the producer after the song was done. So we kind of went back and added instrumentation and built a track. And it was really neat to be involved. And it's also really neat to, because, you know, as a female in the music industry, sometimes people will treat you like you're not, you know, they're better than you or something, right? So you want to find people who respect you as a female in the industry, and also just as a songwriter, an artist, and a musician. You know,
Sure.
I'm not the best guitar player or piano player in the world. You know, I know that there's people that are better than me. And so I lean on those guitar players and those piano players and say, what do you think works here? Here's what I was playing. But then sometimes they have respect back and say, no, I love what you were doing. Show me how you did that. You know, and I've had some amazing, you know, guitar players that tour the world with bands, and they wanted me to teach them what I was playing. I was like, are you friggin' nuts? So you got to work with people where it's that mutual respect, because if someone has a big ego, then, you know, you're not going to come out with the best product you possibly can. You need an even playing field where everyone has that mutual respect and you bounce ideas back and forth. And, you know, there's no such thing as a stupid idea, whether that's songwriting or production. So I'm very involved in the production, but I think the only reason I am is it's because of who I surround myself with.
Yeah, well, I mean, you surround yourself with good people, and you let them do what you brought them in to do. I think that's important, but that's also about the ego. So, but obviously, you know, you're confident as a songwriter, and that's your main thing. You say a lot of things that kind of that ring true to me personally as well. So I understand what you're saying. I think it's cool that you get involved in the production of it, because just like a guitar player may ask you how you did one thing, you'd be surprised another artist may ask you to produce something for them or whatever else down the road. And you want to get your hands in as much as you can every second you're in the studio. That's how I feel about it. But that's pretty cool. So you do have some, you are involved in the production of the material as well as the writing, which is cool. And the videos too, you said, right? I mean, some of those ideas are yours too, right?
Yeah, I mean, most of the music videos that you've seen, I've either edited, co-edited, produced, or co-produced. And music videos is the best part for me. You know, I absolutely love. Again, it goes back to that story where you get to take a blank slate and create something. You know, and again, I'm fortunate to have a great video director in my corner who, again, it's that mutual respect where I'll say to him, we need to do this. And he'll say, okay, let's try it, you know? So we work so well together. I've got a great team of people around me who let my ideas flourish. And I love music videos. You know, I've always loved music videos. So being able to create them is really fun.
Yeah, that is fun. And the album, the full album you did, Pull It Off, it's got a nice cohesive sound on it. I mean, I thought I was hearing the same guitar players kind of all the way through on their respective parts. Did you use a consistent band? I mean, even if you didn't, it sounds cohesive. But did you have, your go-to guys on every track on that record?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they were all Nashville based musicians. And so some of those tracks were produced by a guy named Danik Dupel, who's from Emerson Drive, if you're familiar with them. And then most of the album was produced by an up-and-coming producer, Ryan Rossabo, who I stumbled across serendipity through a mutual friend. Okay. And so there was a lot of the musicians were the exact same.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it works. I think, I'm looking forward to hearing what you got coming next. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's talking about the same record too. To Pull It Off, song I love too was, besides Rooster, I also love the track Hot Pursuit. I thought it was just an excellent cut, and I love the slide guitar in that track. That's just great stuff going on there. I was gonna ask you, who is that guitarist on that record?
Well, it's the producer Ryan. He played most guitars. We did have a steel guitar player and an acoustic guitar player in the studio to put down bass tracks, and then Ryan kind of goes in and fills it in, but he's pretty much the mastermind.
Yeah, it's just great. Even that one track, you have the slide guitar going on there, got another layer of guitar on top of that as well. That's really has a great little line to it. Just really great stuff going on there. And I got to ask you too, where's this country rock side of you come from? Where's where that originating from?
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I've always been country through and through. And even when I was younger and singing in singing contests, I never really knew that there was a genre. So growing up, we grew up in a small town in, outside of Winnipeg, and the radio out there was just played everything. It wasn't just top 40 or just country or just rock. They played everything. So I didn't really know there were genres until I got older, and somebody said, and I started getting into the music industry, and they said, well, you've got to pick something. You can't just be you. Not every radio station is going to play you. You have to be something. And I was like, what? And so all these singing contests I was doing when I was younger, every single person said the same thing. You got a twang in your voice. You have this twang. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about you, and I could never figure it out. And one day, I love cowboy boots and one day it was just like, I'm country, I'm country. Wow, this feels great. I love being country. And you can't take that rock out of me. It's just, it's ingrained. My parents have brainwashed me. So from that realization that there is a genre and I'm country, came that, well, I'm still rock,
Oh, definitely. No, I say that's that record is just a great record, but those tracks, especially I thought the Rooster and Hot Pursuit were pretty hot tracks. They're hot tracks.
Guitar heavy tracks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Like say
Yes.
you quite expect that coming when we see you on the video, your big smile and your really cool persona, and you hear that guitar. It's like, whoa, where's that coming from? No,
yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of big guitars, and when I play live, most of the time we're just a 4-piece. Sometimes we're a 5-piece, so there'll be 5 of us on stage. So sometimes there's 2 guitar players, but most of the time it's just one monstrous guitar player on stage with me who just plays everything, and you just let him solo, and you're like, just solo as long as you want, you know? I love that. That's the rock and roll side of me. You know, I need those guitar solos. I need rocking guitars.
Need more guitar solos. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So how did Pull It Off the record do in the U.S.? Did it have a lot of good reception in the U.S., that record?
Well, you know, I mostly focused on the Canadian market, honestly, and it was more. I didn't really focus on marketing the album as a whole. I focused more on the individual singles and the individual music videos and the tracks off of it. You know, because as an independent artist, it's kind of hard to take an album that has 12 songs on it and market that to people, because most people don't have time to sit there and listen to 12 tracks. You know, even though granted, they're very short songs. You know, some of them are 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They're all very short songs, but most people don't have that attention span. So I kind of focused really on just individual tracks and singles, and was pretty fortunate to have, some of them do really well at Canadian country radio for an independent female artist.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff. And are you working on a new record right now? Besides
I think it's going to be singles for the next little while. You know, I'm liking this idea of putting out one song and a story behind the song, just like with Miles Away, and saying like, here's the song, here's why I wrote it, here's who I wrote it about, and here's a bunch of music videos and content. You know, I love that idea of the story. It goes back to the songwriter in me and the music video director in me. I love a story. So I think Miles Away it's only been out for like, a couple weeks, and the reception has been awesome. So I think I might stick with singles for a little while.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting to hear that. Yeah, yeah. Well, back over to Mark.
So having said that, with your interest in singles, what is, I know you can't play live now, but is it, what was your goal when this album came out? Was it to promote the album by doing a tour, whether it's a Canadian tour or doing festival stops? Or, I mean, you're in Nashville, you're in a great place. There's tons of great places to play there. Say COVID goes away tomorrow. What are you going to do live to promote your music?
Yeah, I mean, that Pull It Off album is fantastic live. You know, it just goes over so well. And before that album even came out, we were playing some of those songs live well before the album came out. And so
Sure.
I mean, you listen to that album and you see videos of me playing live, and you kind of go, oh, it makes sense, right? So the goal behind the Pull It Off album was something physical that I could sell at a show and say, here is my set list on a
Okay. Gotcha.
You know, here's me. And I did all the graphic design myself for that album as well.
Cool.
So,
why am I not surprised?
Yeah,
Mine too. That's cool.
it is. That is very cool.
Really interesting. And is it the kind of thing where moving forward you have, I mean, when I say tour, I don't mean you have to, get on a bill with 5 other bands and not come home for 200 days, but are there venues that you'd like to hit? Have you seen places down in Nashville or even closer to home that you say, I'd really like to get out and play these places and promote this record?
Definitely. I mean, I always go home every summer and play the festivals and everything back home in Canada and in Manitoba. And so most of my bigger shows are there, and they're back home in Canada. So when I'm here, it's mostly the writers round. So it's just me and my guitar. And I've played band gigs here before, but most of what you see in Nashville, unless you go right downtown and play a bunch of cover songs, most of the original music you're hearing are you sitting on a stool with a guitar. And I love that. That's kind of what gravitated me towards this town, was the songwriting side of it. And so I think the first thing I'm going to do is just start playing some writers rounds here, and then wait for the summer to hit and go back and rock out with my band and just get back to it,
Yeah. So you like crowd testing new material, like when you write something new, you kind of, I think that's a great idea. You crowd test it before you invest the time and the money to go in and record it, and you find out what people respond to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you crowd test a lot of what was on your album before you recorded it? I know you mentioned that the album goes really well live and that it was almost like a product of your live set, right? So did you crowd test those songs before you went in and recorded them?
Yeah, I mean, with the Pull It Off album, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Was these songs go over really well live, so let's record them. And for example, a song like "Worth Fighting For," way back in the day, I had was living in Winnipeg at the time, and had just come back from a writing trip in Nashville, because for years I traveled back and forth, and I literally just written "Worth Fighting For" and decided to play it at Festival de Voyageurs, which is, you know, a big winter festival in Manitoba. And I said to the crowd, you know what, guys, I think I'm going to play this for you. I just wrote it and I like it. Yeah. And I literally, they were losing their minds over this song and were singing the lyrics right away. And I said, you know what, screw it, let's release it to radio. So I have crowd tested things, and that's actually what happened with Miles Away as well. I released a video of me playing it acoustically literally the day I wrote it. I didn't even have it memorized. I was staring at it off a computer.
Awesome. Even better.
Yeah, and people just, the reaction was insane. I got so many messages from people saying, I connect to this song, here's my story. And the response was incredible. And I'm thinking it's just a song I wrote by myself in my bedroom, you know, in quarantine, and was like, hey, I'm going to send this to my fiance and say, I can't wait to marry you. But it turned out to be this single and this big marketing plan behind it and 2 music videos. And so, you know, crowdsourcing things. And
but that's really rewarding, right? That's more rewarding than saying I have X number of streams, because like, you know, who cares about that, you know, the energy, that back and forth is absolutely electric. So I see the look on your face. I know that feeling. So that's wonderful. That's another good story.
I mean, it's a good feeling to know that people have responded to something that they really haven't even heard, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool indeed. So you have any big plans for 2021 at all?
Well, hopefully a big wedding, and playing some festivals, and putting out more singles, and making more music, and hopefully it's safe to get into the studio and record more, and you know, hopefully things just go up from here.
Yeah, exactly right. I think we're all tired of this lockdown stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Well, hey folks, we're out of time already. Here we are, out of time. But hey, it's a real pleasure having you on the show, Leanne. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure chatting with you guys. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, it's excellent. Good to talk to a fellow Winnipegian. It's very cool. And there you are in Nashville, Tennessee, hanging out. Very cool.
And my cat didn't even come in and destroy things. She left us a whole after.
Thanks for spending the time with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it very much.
I appreciate you.
It's a great record.
It's a great record, and like I say, this great stuff going on there. Whether it's the acoustic stuff or it's the country rocking stuff, we love it. It's just excellent stuff. Keep it up.
Thank you. Sure. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And thanks for calling me cool.
Well, you are cool. You are.
I am going to tell my whole family that you guys think I'm cool. So
we tell our family. We said you're cool. Okay.
Perfect.
That's right.
Thanks, Leanne, and thanks, Mark. And hey, guys, happy New Year! And hopefully, this is a good year for all of us. Moving forward, get this 2020 stuff behind us, and move on to 2021 to hopefully better and good news moving forward. So thanks, guys, for watching. And this show goes to be heard on the Barnborough Radio Network for also 122 platforms. Please go to barnborough.ca for all the news. Barnburner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Turn it up.
Right on.
Thank you.